move to places that
You
I
with the
originally
quality of
couldn't.
life thing. But yeah, I do agree with you to a very large extent. Again, Kingdom Esports not giving Yahiko the freedom of that Fanny anymore. But there's still Yi Sun-shin as well as the lens still wide and open. The Angela will be banned out right here. Coach Simple should sort of like pick this or that or open up both and try to put KSG in the Yi Sun-shin. I think Yi Sun-shin kind of wins games. You have so much more flexibility on the side lanes.
Of course, I think that when it comes down to Yusuchi, there's a very specific gameplay and game plan that you're gonna have to go for, and that's how you win in the early stages, right?
Ooh,
CC. Okay, so I was expecting that Yusuchi, but I guess not. CC is, of course, a very viable and a very clear, I would say an opening hand that can't go wrong. No, there is no flexibility in CC at all. Okay, maybe there is a little bit like XP and gold, but that's not a very big difference. But CC openings are good because every game there's tanks. There's tanks to shred, so just shred them.
King's SG actually giving up the lands and the Yi Sun-shin. I think it's pick one and I'll pick the other kind of situation right here.
Yeah.
Kimmy, good pick. Gotcha, taking it away from the hands of Lozzy. I think that's good for IO as well. It's going to be the Jusin as well as the Grok. Especially since it's broken walls, Grok makes a lot of sense. Jusin is just super annoying. It's a natural lane-to-lane counter for the Kimmy. And the Yi Sun-shin gets picked up by the hands of Kings.
Another possibility for the triple marksman, or if they want, of course, is always gonna be something that they can do when it comes down to double fighters in the top lane or the bottom lane. They have also managed to pick up a Gatokacha for themselves, so I think that that's actually a really nice thing to keep KE on their toes. Which direction are they actually going for? And based on the bans that KE is looking at, then maybe cater themselves towards whatever that they are trying to aim for. Understand their patterns.
So banning out the Lancelot, picking up the Yi Sun-shin, banning the Lancelot is a smart move for KSG because now we kind of know that Kingdom Esports wants to be able to put Yon in a comfortable position. But then, with the Grok, Yon has played the Ikai before.
But I don't think he's too comfortable with it,
No,
to be fairly honest.
Yeah.
He lost the game.
We talked about this. Like if you're an assassin main, just put your members in a very comfortable position. So just put him in an assassin. He's much more comfortable with that. At least he's able to perform on these kinds of heroes.
So at this point, KE decided to go for bans on the Arlot. As technically understandable, you must have an XP laner, right? So just ban out all the XP laners and we'll see what are we left with, such as a Lapu, a Ruby at this point in time. But at this point, the way that Kings have is a lot more. They can still kind of go divey. They can still kind of go front to back. It doesn't really show us any information whatsoever. But it can also be zone denial. So the moment that they bring in like a Phoveus and a Harith, then that's zone denial. If they're trying to go for fighters, then that's just dive. If they have a typical standard triple marksman plus one other crowd control XP, then that is front to back.
The night sky tells
Esmeralda gets picked up right here since the Ranas is already banned out. Yeah, I think it would be a double fighter side lanes. In place of any other marksman, I think the Ruby works out well if you are Bong. At least you can hold yourself up well with the CC as well. Hayabusa is wide and open if you want Yon to snap pick that one up, but there's the target onto the Kimmy will be a bit difficult and challenging in this game. You have so much walls, you have that taunt waiting by the shadows, and then once you land, there's a Gotcha in your face.
I think also because of the fact that there is a Jusin, it might be a little bit difficult for Kings to just go straight in for a dive comp. So I would much prefer to have an Esmeralda to just jump right in and force FMM to purify and kind of Crimson Beacon away. That way they can play front to back. So with the last pick, going for a marksman would be my ideal spot. But they have decided to go for a Ruby. So this is more divey.
Yeah. Really like the Ruby pick. On top of that, at least it gives a lot more regeneration and sustainability over big team fights. I would say KSG has a much more fun draft to execute, and you have so much more dimensions that you can play with the Ruby. You're able to draw everyone back AOG into the I'm Offended, into the Falling Star Moon, and then you set everything up for Kimmy, or you can do it, vice versa. So there's no one method or way where they can layer things up. It's just you can go first, and now I can follow up. That is a very, very good dynamic that Kings has brought into the table with the Ruby itself to solidify the last pick. But for the side of Kingdom Esports, though, Yon being put in the Fredrin, I am not really a big fan of that. But if that's what he wants to play, I feel like the tankability from Kingdom Esports to defend themselves against the Kimmy as well as the Sun Shin should be in play.
To further supplement that, I think that the fact that the Harif has been picked up from Kingdom further forces Kings SG to not play front to back because of the fact that they want to control even more of team fight. They want to do aerial denials. They do not want Harif to have complete free reign all the way at the back lines using the Zaman Force. So just jumping right in, you definitely will get out of these fights because of Purify for the Harif as well as the Juicin. However, that immunity to crowd control only lasts for a while. So maybe 2 or 3 shots inside the Zaman Force. I think that is something that I can take.
We're going into the match point game for Kingdom Esports. Kings SG has solidified their draft, and I do want to say that honestly though, actually, if the Ruby goes into EXP and the Esmeralda comes down into the gold lane, it makes a lot more sense. At least you have a natural counter for the Esme against the Harith, and you delay his farm so much more. So now, with the range difference, Bong's going to struggle a little tad bit against the Harith right from the get-go. But it won't make too much of a difference. I feel like it's just, damn if you do, damn if you don't kind of situation. But, the Ruby in the gold lane makes sense if you don't really need that much XP to get your level 4, to get your core skill spikes. And now, Bong having a lot of damage taken and drawn back. So he's going to lose 2 potential waves. And it's going to delay his farm just a little bit.
At this point in time, we are also just going to be looking at a very standard kind of rotation from both of the junglers with not much information whatsoever. So most of the time, we are actually going to be looking more brawly in the middle.
As the Mountain Shocker already utilized his Lantern, pulling Ryzen back, but no follow-up so for now. It's Kings SG playing a little bit more safer. Bong is clearing everything back up. Iron Ryan getting pulled back. Appraiser's Wrath won't be able to seal the job, but Yon still gets the first blood anyway.
Yep, so easy kill for Kingdom. I think that for Iron Ryan, underestimated the damage potential of this roaming trio from Kingdom Esports. And generally, you don't really want to give such an early kill over to Fredrin. It's not going to be that big of a deal whereby he just completely annihilates the team. However, it can definitely come back to very random turnarounds because of the Appraiser's Wrath and the healing that's involved in that.
Lozy still doesn't have that level 4, so no big ultimates yet. But that was a very nice wall, blocking Kings SG into place and Grant immediately with the follow-up. But, at the end of the day, 1 turtle to Kingdom Esports names. Kings actually equalizing the scoreline just for now. And that's the power of the Sun Shin. You farm a lot much more faster than the Fredrin. You don't want to be able to contest for big lords, big major neutral objectives if you can't do it. And so Kings just playing it safe, playing it fine and dandy. You don't have to rush and push the pressure onto Kingdom Esports.
Yep. You can very also clearly tell that Kings SG is losing out in the middle lane. They do not have the potential to be able to clear out the waves fast enough in order to really enable Kimi to influence the other side of the lanes. You can see that Kingdom Esports, they're constantly just on the move, clearing the middle lane and then head down to the bottom lanes. We do have a little bit of a difference though, and that is going to be the Juicin just hiding inside the Pixel Brush, or rather the Z-Brush right in the middle lane. So it does help with understanding the rotations of how Esmeralda is moving.
Actually, I feel like Bong should just swap the lanes immediately right now. Bumble Reborn will have a much easier time against the Harith because of the shields that he provides.
We're just going to be hoping to see that at this point in time, we constantly want to see Kings SG to be more initiative in the middle lane, right? They're losing out in the wave clear department. Iron Ryan isn't exactly able to, kind of help things out. In fact, he hasn't been in the middle lane for like maybe 3 waves now, leaving it all to Ryzen. And I'm not particularly a big fan of that because now there's no control, no influence, and no way to really help out the other lanes, even though technically they don't need help because look at this. Bong is just putting Harif in a really tough spot.
Yeah, that's the power of the fighters. Hopefully we see the itemization soon, but the Lantern from FMM pulling Iron Ryan back into the picture. We got Lawsy just to try to get that turtle for that reset so that Yon gets into position. We got the early game rotation. If Ruby is showing himself in the mid lane, then they're going to have Grant push it in, but the traction pulls Yahiko in, down goes the YSS. Iron Ryan is next on the chopping block. Appraiser's Wrath won't connect onto Iron Ryan. They're all getting pushed back. It's only 2v4 as Iron Ryan falls, and Ryzen is not in a good position to contest.
As now Kings SG haven't really gotten a single kill, and they are just outright winning in some of these other lanes in some sense. Kings SG, they won in gold, but is not really paying much dividends yet.
Slowly but surely, Yahiko is still playing catch-up though. The damage from Drinsanity not doing too much onto Bunboy Reborn, able to get out safe for now. For Kings SG, the tempo should be increasing. You got double fighter side lanes. Whenever Yahiko comes into the fight, make sure that he's well protected. He's well, having a front line so that he's able to deal the damage that he does. And right now, even with the killing spree, he should engage a lot more. He's only level 8. Yon is already level 9. He's got 2 kills to his name. And Lawsy's just enabling Yon to get all these kills and all these taunts so easily.
Yeah, so good that you mentioned about the killing spree, but we'll talk about that a bit later. Never mind, we can talk about it now. So killing spree, you generally want to ride along the killing spree and of course get yourself a massive amount of advantage in the early stages. Go from fights to fights or players to players. That will give you the snowball factor. And let's not forget about the fact that having a fighter in the gold lane pretty much gets the fighter out of lane fast. And we know that Bong is outright winning the lanes against Harris, but they're not doing anything about it.
Shocker into the AOG, Lawsy gets taunted out. Yon taking a huge brunt of the damage. He does not have the Appraiser's Wrath right now. He's making a beeline across the wall. And here comes FMM trying to delay and reposition the rest of Kings SG. As all 5 members are all in the bottom side, Kings SG will just touch and go. They're pushing in the wave. We'll get that reset.
It's good that they managed to win in that fight, even though they didn't manage to kill anyone. But that also means that they have got priority onto the turtle. As much as possible, they need to continue to ensure that they have free real estate down at the bottom.
Bong taking huge brunt of damage as well. Yon's already in position. Bunboy Reborn taking a lot of damage from Drinsanity, but the curtain call still not used up just yet. They're jumping in. That's a huge taunting charge by Lawsy. This is a throw Bong out of position and up in the air. There's a turtle pit. Yon will secure that one again. 3 turtles to Kingdom Esports names, and Kings SG, they're falling like flies.
This is really an unfortunate spot for Kings SG. They managed to win in some of these fights whereby they forced a reset on the Kingdom Esports. However, they weren't able to apply pressure using that win. I can understand it's a little bit difficult for them to push down the wave down in the bottom lane and get a free turret, but they needed to expand themselves out a little bit more and just kind of force Kingdom Esports further away because they know that number 1, they tagged Yon to an all-time low. He has to go back home. So within 5 seconds or so, he would have recalled back home with no forms of mobility to come back fast. That is the point in time where they can spring into action and reclaim themselves, or rather, they can claim the opponent's jungle. This way, number 1, they cycle Kingdom Esports members so that they have numbers advantage to an upcoming turtle which they already have managed to take control of.
Yon always in position, he's always ready, and he knows the objective of the game. He knows how to play this Fredrin around him. 303 is the scoreline for Yon. He's up a hit in terms of Yahiko. Yahiko desperately is trying to pick up the scraps that Kingdom Esports left behind. You see how aggressive Yon is over the jungle. Every single neutral objective that comes up in Kings SG's jungle, Yon picks up. it's all empowered by Losey, giving that space, opening up that map, even Insanity doing his job and trying to push every one of King's SG away. Yahiko desperately trying to find an angle towards that top T1 base, but look at the map. Kingdom Esports are still standing strong. They're keeping their citadel up high.
With all of their T1 turrets still standing up high, King's SG found no way of cross-map plays to realistically be able to get anything because they have missed out their, quite literally missed out their critical mass early game, or rather laning phase. We've got Grant that literally couldn't do anything. Bong outright won in lanes, which they could move out of lanes, apply pressure in the middle lane, and most of what we saw from the Gatokacha is just kind of floating around the bottom lane looking for opportunities.
Lord, unable to get that reset. That's a huge AOG, a huge tectonic charge on the 3. That's a huge comeback play from Kingdom Esports just to tear everyone else to smithereens. The Kings will not be able to stand tall this time around.
So now we are kind of getting a more clear idea of King's SG where they are looking for opportunity but not creating the opportunity. While for Kingdom Esports, they lunge into action, they know they have the opportunity. Why? Because they have numbers advantage, so they play towards their advantage. What Kingdom Esports is looking out for is economy. We win by economy, so we jump. In the laning phase, King's SG, we won by lane, so we jump. That is the kind of thing that is supposed to propel them forward into winning into the early stages. Because of the lack of influence from the middle lane, because of the fact that Ryzen just can't push out the waves in the middle lane, they found themselves in such a tough spot where the gold lane and the XP lane now is unable to do anything.
You got the purple buff also in contention. Yahiko denied once again. Yon 2 levels ahead. And he's still pushing King's SG back into their homes. They're trying to burst all these bubbles down. It's the first level of the game, so King's SG still has a little bit of time left. And Bong wants to try to go fishing. Yahiko does not have the core damages as of now, but huge props to Losey though, denying the AOG, denying the setups that King's SG wants to bring to the table.
The spiraling trident strikes down at the bottom lane, takes out the holy defense, and the middle lane, the holy defense is gone as well. Creating opportunities, that's what Kingdom Esports is doing.
Huge wall into the charge, and King's SG, they're falling, all of them. Ball goes down by the hands of Grant, and he's just free dancing around with his aim and force.
There's not a lot of things that King's SG could do, even in the protection of their own base. The 8.5 thousand gold lead is just way too much for King's SG to handle.
Yon already deep in, trying to go for one more. Grant takes down Ryzen, there's 3 down, make it 4. The turret goes down, they have Bobby just pushing it through, but it won't be enough. They have to wait for the next round.
We have more Bobbies coming out. Big Bobbies. In the middle and the bottom lane. T3 destroyed. Only left the top lane T3 that is left remaining, and we're looking at about 10,000 gold lead now. King's SG is severely behind. And let's just take a look at itemizations, right? Ryzen, okay, here's one of the other problems is itemizations, but we'll talk about that later on.
AOG to get out safe, and King's SG just toying with death.
I think that this is more of a personal flavor kind of thing, is where you gotta have to look at how your game is progressing. A glowing one first item is great. Sky Piercer item 2 for the Kimi is an okay pick, provided that you are winning your mid lane and is able to influence the other side of the lanes. But in this case, Ryzen did not manage to influence lanes because unfortunately he has gotten no help from the mid lane, from the roamer, or perhaps even from the gold laner, or perhaps XP laner. Literally got no help. He's stuck in the middle lane. So that Sky Piercer literally have got zero value at that point in time when he picked it up.
Bottom line is, King's SG honestly has a great draft. Ryzen does not have the answers and support to have follow-ups. Whenever his traction pulse lands onto any one of the members of Kingdom Esports, King SG playing it very, very safe. They're going to give up this Lord. It's the second Lord of the game, and they do have a little bit more high ground defense in Iron Ryan as well as Bong, trying to pull everyone back. But I do have to mention that Ryzen picks up the Sky Piercer because it's a relatively cheap item. You have a little bit more attack and adaptive attack to that matter to have Kimmy in a position where she's able to deal viable amounts of damage. Yahiko, almost barely making it out through that wall, but it's so hard for Yahiko. This is tough when you're a Yi Sun-shin and you want to claw your way back up.
Yeah, it's tough. You are a snowball hero and unable to snowball, and now you're just kind of stuck in a situation where you want to get in and out to do optimal damage. But realistically, in a lineup like this and in a goal deficit like this, you're mostly just shooting with a bow. You can't do optimal damage at all.
There's a wall build up. Lord marching into mid side. This attraction pulse, claw, a hook, the stun, the AOG will land. Yon falls down low. Finally gets that falls down. Bumboy Reborn takes a huge toll and sends to the graveyard. Lozy still has the immortality. Wilby goes up, but Grand, no one can stop this madman.
That's a good play from Iron Ryan. Bought a bunch of time to allow the back lines of Kings SG to really just clear out everything. But there's still one more wave.
There's one more wave, and they're targeting onto the throne. You have to watch out for Grant. That's a huge damage from the Harris. One more falls. Make that 2. And Ryzen's left. And next is the base. Kingdom Esports again secures their spot in the playoff, clawing their way up from relegation in the seeded stage and right down the challenger bracket. That is their statement.
There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Kingdom Esports retains onto their spot in the playoffs.
He lands on flares, but no, it's going to be Grant. That's 7-0 and 8 for this Harith. Huge props and huge appreciation over to FMM for, you know, creating that space in the early game to empower Grant to just do his thing and holding himself well in the early game and forcing the Ruby to go back and having a tough lane onto him with that respect.
Yeah, honestly, Grant, tough time, really tough time. But all he needed to do was just kind of hold himself a little bit longer. He just need to ensure that he don't feed over to Ruby, which is exactly what he did, right? They played the long game. They realized that, hey, the Ruby is just stuck in the bottom lane. He's not really getting out of lanes. Then I guess this is good for us.
Yeah. Taking a look at the emblems, I'm actually looking at Yon's emblems because he went for tanks. We've seen the not so successful Fredrins actually building the support emblems, and him going for the tanks actually enables him in the early game just to have that little bit of power, a little bit of support that the roam actually needs. Lozy set things up. Yon continues on with the favor and with the taunts coming in from his arsenal, and then just waits for the rest of the team. It's just buying a lot of time. Yon understands his job. He understands the objective. They don't have to go into the back line. They just have to wait till Grand comes online, wait till FMM has that time to pull them away with the butterflies.
So ultimately, I gotta have to say that all in all, this is what can I say? This is a good game for Kingdom Esports. They played according to what they needed to do. It's not. I feel that this is not necessarily a game whereby Kingdom Esports they went out of their way and they found massive opportunities and all that kind of stuff like oh wow kind of plays. It's more of the fact that they are playing based on instincts and they may be autopiloting a bit, because there was some clunkiness in some of their team fights and some of their movements. But all in all, they know what they want to do, and they took advantage of the lack of rotations coming from Kings SG. Right off the start of the game, there's already a lack of control throughout the river line, and I think that Kingdom Esports did a good job taking control of that entirety and not giving Kings SG, especially for Iron Ryan, to even go to the middle lane.
Yep. Giving credit to Kings SG, they had a beautiful draft. Every one of the 5 heroes was honestly things that I'm looking out when I'm playing my own draft. You have the Yi Sun-shin, you have that damage, but for the side of Kingdom Esports, the constant aggression down to the jungle just forces Yahiko away, and he got his level 15 just way too late into the game, wasn't able to snowball when you're playing a snowball kind of hero, and Kings SG just falters in that respect. You know, props to Kingdom Esports for heading into the playoffs, but a very long and arduous run and journey for Kings SG for making it this far, but almost is never enough. And sadly, we have to say goodbye to them. They're being sent home. But hey, you know, looking forward, let's take a look at the replay to see what went down. Honestly though, game number 2, very dominant performance by Kingdom Esports.
I gotta have to say, Kings SG, I hope to be able to see them right back into the